plant hormones are really they're the plant brains. So there's been a few great guys in the past, and they would say the roots are the brains of the plant. And that's because about 80% of plant hormones are made in the roots of the plant. And there's 5 basic hormones, cytokinin, auxin, gibberellin, abscisic acid, and ethylene. And the combinations of these hormones is how the plant decides what the environment is doing to it.
Okay.
And then based on that combination, the plant can then respond and manage the environment.
Okay.
So the plant can't get up and run away. It can't go into the other room. It can't close the door. So it uses these chemicals to change its growth, to put its carbon and its sugars in the right places, so it's doing the right thing at the right time during the right conditions.
Okay. So let's just start when the seed's in the ground.
Okay, so the seeds, when you're in the ground, there's 2 main hormones that are really affecting the seed and keeping it dormant or making it germinate, and it's called abscisic acid, and that's really the sleeper, the dormancy hormone. And then there's gibberellin, and that'll make things wake up. It makes them imbibe water, and it's much more of a juvenility hormone. So when you put a seed in the ground, it's full of ABA.
Okay.
And that ABA starts to break down, and that water from imbibition allows the plant to start germinating and growing, and the GA starts to spike, and that's when you see your cotyledon emerge and elongate right up out of the soil, so it can make some green tissue to start making its own food.
Okay, so when you say GA...
I'm sorry, gibberellic acid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, what are some things that a person can influence, or maybe what should they influence, or maybe what they shouldn't influence when it comes to plant hormones at that stage?
Well, so you have to think of each seed as an individual. And every individual, it might all be corn or might all be soybean, and that kind of looks the same. But just like me and you, we have different hair color, different eye color. Your seeds in corn seed, it's going to be the same thing. So it's important when you first grow any crop to get really good uniformity of emergence. And that leads to uniformity of growth. Because yield is not made on an individual plant basis. Yield is made on an acre. So it's really the uniformity of that acre that allows us to maximize the yield in our fields.
Okay.
So I'm not against gibberellin. That'll actually make the plants and all the seeds germinate a lot quicker, but it has a tendency to make your plants tall and skinny.
Okay, yep.
And in certain conditions, that's not a good effect. Where we met up in Nebraska, the wind never stops blowing.
Yep.
And if gibberellin makes your plant tall and skinny, you have problems with lodging, and you don't have a super highway to bring those sugars into the root system. It's narrow, and it seems to constrict it.
Okay.
So we like to treat seed with a balanced hormone profile.
Okay.
And we're typically
So like the word balance, let's dig into that then. Like, what components are with that?
Well, when you're in vegetative growth, it's more than just gibberellin. That would be an imbalance. It would tell the plants that they're crowded. It would tell the plants that they were planted too densely, and it'll make them all reach for the sun.
Okay.
So we would prefer something more balanced with some cytokinin, auxin, and gibberellin. Okay. And those are your vegetative hormones. So that tells the plant that it was planted correctly. It tells the plant that it's going to grow, it's going to pop out of the ground, but it's not going to be tall and skinny.
Having said that, it's very important the ratios of these hormones at particular times.
Okay.
And that really makes a difference, and that's what separates hormones from hormones. It's the ratio that you put those 3 in.
Okay.
Very important.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's any single hormone in a high dose is potentially a herbicide.
Okay.
But when you balance these hormones so that it matches the physiological stage of that plant, then it's really a growth promoter.
Okay. So balance. I mean, we talk about that in soil health. I mean, it's just so important.
It's everything. It's
Yes.
absolutely everything.
Okay, so
Guys, if you've liked the information that you've seen so far, go ahead and check out the full-length podcast on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe there. It's also on all the major podcast platforms. We're constantly dropping info and more content on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Check it out for a lot more content.